Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bizchicks TV. This is the place to be for tips, tools, strategies, and everything you need to take the hassle out of your hustle. Today is Tuesday. That means the digital diva is in the house. Terry Johnson, online from New York City. She's here to give us the latest and greatest for our digital marketing and social media needs. So sit back, relax, put your chair in its upright position, get a pen, get a paper. Let's take some really good notes and let's see what TJ has to offer for today. TJ, take it away.
Hey, everybody. I hope we all had a good holiday break. Happy Thanksgiving. Now it's on to Christmas. Well, they were doing Christmas before Thanksgiving. So even before Halloween, I can't get them all mixed up. But so we're in the holiday season, as you could tell. And Black Friday was a thing. And did you see all the Black Friday sales? And everybody went crazy
Yeah,
with.
some
with
Black Friday is still going on.
Oh, right. I see. I've been out of it for the week. Yeah. So we had Black Friday, we have Cyber Monday yesterday, and today is Giving Tuesday. So that means, after all the spending and the eating and all the hoopla, you want to give back to the charities. So the charities are reaching out, organizations, nonprofits that help people in need. So, if you have something left, please think about giving to these organizations, and you can find them. I think the hashtag is Giving Tuesday.
Mm.
I have to double check that. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm just looking at something real quick.
Yeah, this has been real interesting because they had Small Business Saturday in the middle of all this,
I
too.
forgot about that. Yes.
I was like, okay, y'all really want to be in our pockets, but okay. So, did anybody watching? Did you all participate in Black Friday, Cyber Monday,
Yeah,
Small Business
I
Monday?
really I looked at some things. I didn't really see anything I wanted. I c- you know.
There were a lot of people. Did anybody get mauled at the mall?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Did anybody go to the mall? Do people still go to the mall?
I don't know, but
I
they
don't.
tried to have like stuff to make you go there. But
Right. Okay, so let me bring up what we're going to talk about. Actually, I have some links. Did I put the link in there? Let me put the link in here. And this is from TechCrunch. It's a good link to have to keep up with what's going on with Chat GPT. So that's what we're going to talk about today because it has officially been a year. It was November 22. I'm not sure of the date. November 22, 2022. I had it
mhm.
in my notes and I got a bunch of notes.
So it's happy birthday, Chat GPT.
Yeah, so happy birthday. And let me bring up here's the link that I wanted. I'm sorry. I had a link that I wanted to put up. That's a link that you guys can read. It's like the TechCrunch has a whole breakdown of, and a matter of fact, let's bring it up. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Let's
While
do
I'm
that.
doing this, let me bring it up on screen. But it is in the chat, and we will bring it up on the screen. Yes, that's it. Yeah. Okay, let me make sure that's there. Okay, so this is TechCrunch, Chat GPT, everything you need to know about the AI powered chatbot. So we've been talking about Chat GPT since November 22. It's officially a year. And if
Mm.
you scroll, I see how much information is here. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, here it is. It's November 30th, 2022. ChatGPT first launched to the public as OpenAI released 3.5. So they didn't even start with ChatGPT 1. They just went, that's how many things were going on in the background that they got to level 3.5 and they made it public. So that's what it was, that it went public and it was open for the public, for us beta users to use it because they had been secretly working with this behind the scene. OpenAI is the company that puts it out,
Mm-hmm.
and they put it out on this day, and people would it just it was like electricity. The electricity switch came on. Thomas Edison did his thing, and boom. So think about the whole. It's been this seems so far away to me. Is it just me? This seems like 10 years ago.
Right. It does. Good
Doesn't it?
morning. Yes. Good morning, Carlos.
Hey,
It
Carlos.
it 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 does seem like okay, and I guess because there's been so many changes.
Can we call? I'm just. Can you tell? I can't talk. It's been so much that I'm overwhelmed. If the people in tech are overwhelmed, this is overwhelming.
Hey,
This
hey,
link.
Linda.
This link. So you can, we'll talk about a couple of things. That they, so in February 1st, 2023, this year they opened Chat GTP Plus because it was free before because it was beta. It's
Mm-hmm.
still in kind of beta. They're not saying that, but it's still in beta. But they were charging Chat GPT Plus, which is their subscription, and you got the next level. So it was 3.5, and then they went up to 4, and then people that paid for the subscription got all the new toys. um, Here's another one. February 7th, 2023, Microsoft launched the new Bing with Chat GPT built in. That was a big deal because Microsoft owns 49% of OpenAI, and they put 10 to 13 billion in. We quite don't know the number, but they put a bunch of billions in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple other things that so GPT-4 came out March 14th, 2023. March 23rd, 2023, OpenAI connects Chat GPT to the internet. That was a big deal because before it had access to the internet, it was a closed section. I told everybody it was like being in a library.
Mm.
A library has a set number of books, but then when they connected to the internet, it was like, okay, the doors are open to everything.
Right.
So that was March 23rd. And there's a couple other things. The March 29th, 2023, this is when that letter came out, and like they said, over like 1,000 people signed it saying to pause for 6 months. And I laughed when I heard that. We talked about this. I said it's so in March they talked about pausing it. Here we are in November. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That look,
Uh,
that horse was down the road by the time they.
that horse is out the barn. So April 1st, remember Italy blocked a whole country blocked ChatGPT. It's a crazy, wild ride, and it's all here. Thank you, TechCrunch. So you can go through and look at all of these things. So I'm not going to go through much, except let me show you, and let me see if they should have it. So November 17th, here we go. That's the big deal. This November 17th,
That was
2023 will be the day of infamy for tech. Now, does anybody
yes,
know why?
because they fired Sam.
Right. If you find I was on top of it when it happened. And the thing is that they fired him. It was like 440, 449 or something like that. Something crazy right before 5. So on a Friday. So this is a trick. If you don't know, if people, celebrities, businesses, whoever has news that's going to affect the public in a frenzy or a crazy kind of way, like you'll hear celebrity divorces. They'll announce on a Friday at 4:50 or 4:55 or 4:59 because they wanted to they wanted to be old news by Monday because most of the TV shows and news shows, they already have their show for Friday, like the news, like the
Yes.
nightly news, CBS News, ABC, all of that. Their news is cooked by 4:50, 4:59 because they have to go on at 6:30 and 5 and 6 and stuff like that. So that's the trick that they do. So that was released at that particular time. Also, Microsoft did not know. Microsoft knew 1 minute before they put the press release out. 1 minute. They knew 1 minute before. They was
Okay.
in the dark.
Yeah.
So It's a story. Let me get some water. It's a story.
And the crazy part of the story was he doesn't know why he was fired.
Right. Well, he knew it, they put it. They excuse me, I'm getting choked up because the story is slowly coming out now. Like,
Hmm.
what has it been? 10, 11 days, maybe 12 days. That there was some kind of disconnect between the board and Sam Altman. So let me switch. I'm going to switch to this one. This is another one. I'll put this link in the chat. This is Brian Solis. Solis. He talks about marketing and business, and he's a futurist as far as business and stuff. I've been following him a long time. He's a good person to follow. Um, he put out this blog post November 22nd, and I saw it on his LinkedIn. So let me give you the link to that also. I know it's a little small to read. I'm not going to read it. I just wanted to show it to you that he kind of put together what, because I was everywhere. I was on X because people were still breaking news on tech people for some reason will not let go of X, Twitter, whatever. So there's some breaking AI stuff on there. They refuse to come to Threads. A lot of other people have come to Threads, like journalists, celebrities. There's a lot more people on Threads as far as breaking news. So I was like everywhere trying to piece it together, but he put it together really, really good. Really, really good. He put it together well. Um, so so you can read that, but that's a picture of Sam Altman. He's the CEO of OpenAI. Then I discovered I did not know that OpenAI is two things. Did you know that? Let me close that because you guys can read that when you have a chance. OpenAI is two entities. It's a nonprofit and a for-profit.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Right. But see, we didn't know that before all of November 17th. Well, people knew, but it wasn't news. So come to find out that there's five people on the board. They started out as a nonprofit for the betterment of AI, for the betterment of humanity or something. They had a manifesto and all that stuff. So it comes to find out that Sam, not Sam, but one of the other people on the board who's like the chief scientist or programmer or whatever, they have created something called Q Star. Q Star is something called AGI, artificial. Is it artificial general intelligence? It's not GPT. It is a tool that can solve math problems on its own.
Mm.
On its own, not with a human input. On its own. They said it can solve math problems on like a grade school level, like fifth grade math or something. It can solve problems on its own. That's a big deal. On its own is the key. Because everything we're doing now is the human input. We type in a text. We, enter in this. We put that in, and then the GPT does it, computes it and makes it, we've talked about that. But they have something called Q Star they're working on. And it was discovered by one of the people on the board who it's a whole mess, but she's involved with the competitor to Chat GPT, which is Anthropic. There's a whole backstory. But anyway, Sam Altman, the CEO, and her, they kind of clashed or whatever. I don't, they had a disagreement or whatever because she wrote a paper about. So there's some discontent behind on the board. That's what happened. So there's five people on the board. So, you got two on one side, which is Sam Altman and I think Greg Brockman is his name. Those are the two co-founders. Then you have the other two people, which was the lady, I can't remember her name, and then somebody else, two people, and then the scientist that made the Q Star. So what happened is there was a back and forth, 2-2. And then the scientist, I forgot his name, is some like Russian name or something. So he decides to side with the opposite side of Sam and
Greg.
his name Greg, the co-founders. So with the balance of power on their side, they kick Sam out. They do this on Friday. They tell no one. They do this on Friday the 17th. They do not tell Microsoft 1 minute before. They do this on a Friday before the news, because the news is already cooked. So it's not going to be reported. And excuse me. So, but it gets out when the news gets out, everything broke loose. The tech world went crazy. Like compound. Like, what is going on? How do you get rid of the founder of the company?
Right.
And remember, before that, they had OpenAI had a development day or something, and that's when the custom GPTs came out, and they were going to have a custom GPT store, and you can make a GPT and you'll be able to sell it in the store. So all that happened like the week before, which kind of angered this one person on the board, because she's for the AI is free. I guess she wants it to be free for everybody, or something about humanity. I don't really know too much about her, but she's on her values of about AI is on the other side. Come to find out that in AI there are people called doomers, which are the people that signed the letter and want to stop AI. And then you have another one called EAAC, which is accelerated something accelerated. I forgot what it was. I found all this crazy stuff. To me, because I'm like, okay, I'm thinking I'm on top of, oh yeah, I'm listening. There's all this other stuff that's going on. So there's just so much information going out that I know the average person is like, okay, I'm checking out, because it's just too much. Even for people in tech, it was too much. So it comes to this firing of the CEO, Sam Altman. Then Microsoft, the CEO of Microsoft, I forgot his name, he contacts Sam and Greg, and they go over to Microsoft. So they actually folded them into Microsoft and promised them a whole division of autonomy on AI, because now they're not with OpenAI. So they're coming over to Microsoft. So then the employees of OpenAI, they said 70% of the employees said they would walk out if the CEO, Sam Altman, wasn't brought back. So then Microsoft promised to hire all those people. So then where did that leave OpenAI as a company? It's the Titanic. You don't have the founders. 70% of the employees said they're leaving. It was a whole battle back and forth that whole weekend about what was going to happen. So then somehow the one guy that was pressured with the other two, he switched sides and went to Sam and Greg's side. And now the balance of power is with Sam. So everybody wants him to go back to OpenAI, but they have to kick out the board. They kick out the board except for one guy. And now Sam is the CEO of OpenAI again. He's now on the board, and they're going to create a new board with up to 9 members. So that's where it is now. Phew. Phew.
So there's a lot of drama in the world of AI.
Drama is something higher than drama. It was crazy. They got rid of this. Yes, the mess is crazy. They got rid of the CEO of OpenAI. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Because now we're loving Chat GPT. We're loving all the GPT products. I know there's other tools like Bing, but Bing is tied into Chat GPT. So there are others. Like I mentioned, Anthropic is one, which was started by former employees of OpenAI, who I find out that they left OpenAI because they didn't like the direction that was going, which is when I found out that it was a profit and for-profit and non-profit, two sides. So with business, that you can't do that. I understand what they were trying to do, but you can't do that with business. You're either business or you are a charitable organization. It's really hard to be both, because business is about what? Profits for the shareholders, which OpenAI is not public yet. It's still private, but That's the whole idea behind a business. A charity is about what? Saving, helping people, saving the world. A business can do charitable things, but it cannot coexist as both. That's just my opinion. So this is where they thought they could do it, and here we are. I don't think it was successful because they have people on the board that want to say, oh, we've got to put a harness on AI and it should be for, the generosity of the world. Yes, but you're also operating as a business because you're taking people's money with this Chat GPT plus $20 a month, right? Come to find out that they do $1 billion a month in revenue, and OpenAI is valued about 80-90 billion. So, but it's a private company, so the numbers aren't really like concrete, but that's what it does. They say it does like over $1 billion, and it's going to do more a month.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do $1 billion a month, is that a business? Yes, that's a business. So they have this. What it went down to was they had a board of 5 people, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, one in the middle who didn't know where to side, and he was convinced to join the doomers that they call them, the ones that want to slow down AI and all that, and then so that's what happened really. Now the thing is, there's a lot of talk. I heard this about AI and tech and good guy versus bad guy. And Sam Altman is a bad guy, but Sam Altman is a good guy. Good, not in, Prince Charming white hat saving the world. Good as in, this is a dangerous technology. Who do you want driving the bus? Do you want an Elon Musk type driving the bus? Or do you want a Sam Altman, Steve Jobs type of person driving the bus? Because we're sitting in the back just riding. We don't control it. So that was some of the things that I put out for people to decide, because they're like, oh, nobody's good in tech and this, that, and the other. And I was like, well, there's some people who are trying to do good, but they're not going to be perfect angels. So I asked you, do you want a Elon Musk type, and what type of person, business owner, whatever he is, versus Sam Altman, which is on closer to a Steve Jobs type of person, which he wasn't great as a person, but he was great as a technology and business genius. Okay, so that's the thing I put out. So what does everybody say?
Let's take a look at some comments over here.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, Carlos, as we said, Carlos says their mess is crazy, and it was. On a side note, Linda will be retiring in December, and she needs some help. And so so we can reach out to her and let her know what to do. And then, yeah, I think, just we'll be reaching out to you, Linda.
And then she got to leave. She said she had to leave. Not a problem. Right.
And then she would like for us to do a broadcast on how to close Facebook page and a Twitter account. Okay. So we will do that. And Dr. Tachi is in the house.
Good morning.
Yeah. So this is a really good conversation to be had, because this is new tech and this is some history that is in the making.
Yes. Yes. It was history making. It was tremendous. For the tech world, for everybody else, they were like, yeah, okay, whatever. But when I heard the news, I was like, wow. I looked at the timing, I looked at what happened, and it was a tennis match. I had popcorn. It was like I stayed up watching, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up, and then it was another thing. And then this
is like Real Housewives of something.
The Real Housewives of AI or something. It was really crazy.
Yeah. And it was like, what? So you fired him, and then these people, and then they brought somebody in from Twitch that was the CEO.
Now, see, you've been following it. You're right. They brought in so okay. So so Sam is off the board, Greg is off the board, so they need a CEO. He's off the board and he's not CEO. A company needs a CEO, so they brought Well, first before they brought him in from Twitch, there was one person from within OpenAI.
There was a
Got
lady.
her name.
Yes, there was a lady that they had
Murgatroyd
brought
or
in.
something. She didn't want it. Smart move. Smart move. She didn't want it. She
No.
said, She's like, the way you're doing this, no, no,
Mhm.
no. Especially when that letter came out that it was like, I think they had like 800 employees, and they said like
The
70%.
employees was like, we got deuces.
Yeah, that's like, if you don't bring Sam Altman back, we out. And then Microsoft was like, okay, don't worry about it. You got a job with us.
Right. And they were going to hire, they were going to take, they would not have had to start Chat GPT from scratch. They would have just had the entire company move to
Yes,
Microsoft.
because Microsoft, 49% of OpenAI, they put all this money in. Their Bing is connected. They're already connected.
And these people were already working on this stuff.
Yes.
And so all they would have to do is just move to a different location. And if they was working from home, they didn't have to do that.
They didn't have to do. And the only thing is the check, their check, their paycheck would say Microsoft instead of OpenAI. That's the only change. So a lot of people were comfortable and they got together and they was so. But to me personally, that says a lot. That 70% of your employees are willing to turn their computer and walk out the door for the CEO. That says a lot about his leadership. That says a lot.
Mark has a comment. He said, I'll take the job. I just have to negotiate a lucrative separation package for when I'm fired a few days later.
Now, so in the middle of that, because I'm reading the TechCrunch, because I didn't read all of there's some new updates. So in the middle of that, ChatGPT rolled out voice for the free users of ChatGPT. The voice is where you can do you can create a voice from text prompts, and you can also use your voice on the app.
And it's now in the free version?
Yes, that came out in the middle of this. So that would have been the big news. That would have been the big news. Oh, because all of these things are in the Chat GPT Plus already. They've already, rolled it out. But for the free users, they were rolling this out. But this CEO board drama, and they're saying
all of that.
Yeah. So on November 21st, Sam Altman returned as CEO. So he had so like I said, they're reinstating him as CEO. He's not on the board, which is two different things, but they're going to make a new board. A board for a corporation is very important. It's like a guiding it's like Congress for a company. Like they don't have the CEO goes to them and they talk about the direction of the company, but he's really driving the company. So, but he advises them and they give him, it's like an advisory kind of thing. So if you don't know what a board is for a corporation. So, and then it's more complicated because I did not know OpenAI is two things. And I'm like, you cannot be a nonprofit. You have a nonprofit and then you have a for-profit. Those things.
So I think the for-profit is the base, but they have a nonprofit.
No, well, they had a nonprofit first. The nonprofit was first.
Oh.
Then when they rolled out the subscription, they figured, okay, a nonprofit cannot. Well, there's a way to do it, but I'm not sure if they, I'm not internal with them. I'm just saying that if they were a nonprofit and then they suddenly try to do for-profit corporation style stuff, then you have to be a corporation. I think it has to do with the laws and stuff, U.S.
Right.
laws.
But I'm sure they figured that out and fixed it so that they wouldn't.
Right. But see, but then you get into what we have now with the board, because they have to look at two things. Usually you have a board that is nonprofit vision based, and then you have a corporation who has a capitalist, we making money, because that's what a corporation does. So I think this board was not equipped for that because they had the two factions and then the one person. It's just crazy. It's still the fallout is still there. It was crazy. It was just wow. So that's been the year of ChatGPT. I don't know what's coming up. Now that everybody knows, well, not everybody, people that follow the story know about this Q Star. I'm real curious about that. I don't know what kind of information they will release, if anything. They might put the damper on it, because remember, OpenAI is not a publicly traded company. They do not have to
Report
tell
to
us
any of
anything.
us.
Just same thing with X and Elon Musk. Elon Musk, that's part. He doesn't have to say anything. Everything that they say about X is speculation, because it's a private company unless you're inside of it.
Hmm.
So same thing with OpenAI. They're not publicly traded yet. I thought they would, but maybe this delays it a little bit. Um,
Mark,
Mark has a comment.
yeah. Mark says they should just designate themselves as a religion. Then they can evade taxes and the legalities between for profit and nonprofit. The first church of AI.
And Mark always brings up the point that yes, you're kind of right, Mark. That it's a thing, an entity that we haven't experienced before. That's why I brought up electricity. Remember when? And I'm watching this show called The Gilded Age on Max. If anybody's watching it, so I think it's the 1870s, and it's in New York. And then they did a show where everybody went outside to see, because Thomas Edison had wired the streets or something, so they were turning on the street lights with electricity, and it was a big party. So it was like a big thing, because everything was gas lanterns or lights
Yeah,
and
lamps.
candles,
Yeah.
right? So it was like a big switch, a big deal. So we're kind of in that kind of thing where it was like, okay, before November 30th, we were just like, yeah, okay, whatever, doing our content. And now we're on the other side of it, to where people are like, they were panicking this weekend thinking they weren't going to have their chat GPT.
Mark says, I love the
Oh,
Gilded
isn't it
Age.
great? Did you see Sunday's episode? If not, I'm not going to. Mark and I can talk about that. It's a good show. So it's kind of like that feeling of newness, where it is something that wasn't there before. So now on the show, they all have to live a new life with electricity. And I'm like, living without electricity, no refrigerators, no light switch on the wall. That's the kind of thing that they had to adapt to. So that's where we're kind of at, where the technology is new. Nobody knows what's going to happen. You've got good and bad actors. You've got hackers and spammers and things on the side that's going to use this for bad things. Then you
And
have the other side.
right, and they will always be there. There was always going to be somebody trying to game the system, trying
Right,
to do
right,
something that it wasn't meant to be.
right. Because that's what humans do. So, and I always tell you, social media is this the screwdriver. Same situation. So that's what that letter. Remember the letter? People were like, "Oh, put a pause on it because we don't know what it's going to do to the world." Well, it's looking at this show on Max, and it's the same kind of thing. Like, they didn't know what electricity was going to do to their world. They were afraid of it.
Right. They were people afraid of stuff for any new thing that came down the road.
The railroad,
Or
the
the railroad,
radio,
cars.
TV, cars, you name it. So it's that kind of feeling, and it is. I look at it and I go, okay, people want to stop it, but I understand the panic and the fear. But you have to look at it on a global stage, that the United States cannot stop, because the other countries,
I'm not
China, yeah, name your country that's not friendly. They have people work. They have their own AI stuff going on. So who do you want to be? Not the leader, but kind of like in the lead. And if we pause, who gets in the lead?
and some people you don't want in the lead.
You don't want them in the race, but they're there.
Yes. I said, remember waiting in the drive-through line on Saturday at the bank was the thing. If you're
Yes.
like me, you have seen a lot. For the record, I did grow up with electricity. Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. There's a major, and I understand the fear. There's the stories about people losing their jobs and things, but that happened when, like Fran said, with the when we were horse and buggy and switched to the car.
And the people had to learn how to fix a car instead of shoe a horse.
Radio to TV. The railroads, when things came cross country, and then the local merchants, what could they do? Because things were coming in from California. You're on one coast and things are coming in from the other coast. When that never happened, what happened before, it would take months because they had to go by horse.
And then you had to salt everything because there was no refrigeration.
Right.
It was a whole, but you hoped it got there and it wasn't spoiled when it got there.
So what happened when the refrigerator showed up with electricity? Well, they had a refrigerator, but how did they keep things cool? The ice man came, right? And they bought ice. Well, electricity came, and Iceman, we don't need you anymore for keeping things cool because we plug it in and
we got our own ice box.
Right. So what happened to the guy with the ice? Well, ice is still a business, but they had to redefine it.
Right. Now I was thinking, how was he doing ice before refrigeration? Go outside and chip a block off the.
I've seen the TV. Some of the older, if you watch some TV shows about history and stuff, I think one of them was like they would cut them in big blocks and have those hook things.
The hook, yes. So you had to go out in the cold,
right?
Get the ice, chop it and bring it back, and then chisel it into pieces.
Yeah, and then deliver it. And then think about being summer. You got to do it in summer. So.
The ice people was like, "Oh, thank God for a."
So when the refrigerator and the electricity, and I'm just, some of those things fascinate me because I'm like, we don't remember a time when that was. I think I mentioned before something about the milkman.
Yeah, where they used to bring the milk and put it on the porch.
Yes, and you could see some of that in some of the movies. I'm watching another TV show that's like in the 40s or 50s or something, and they had that scene with the milkman. Putting it on. I was like, look at that. So those are some of the things that, and Gen Z especially, they don't know any of this.
Mark said, life with no microwave? That's called camping.
So because we're bringing these things up because that's kind of like the phase we're in. We're in it, and so I'm pretty sure, and I've seen it on some of the shows where there are people that was afraid of electricity, was afraid of the new technology, and would not use it. And then there are others that used it. So here we are. This is it. The year of ChatGPT. It came out. It was all AI has always been there. Meta, some of the other companies, excuse me, social media companies, they use AI for everything in the background. They don't have people sitting around looking at posts. They have AI for that, to look at and to ban a post or to look for certain words. Or here's another thing. If you play, and I've seen this on Facebook a couple times, if we play like videos here live, and then if I go to my page, it says, oh, Meta has suppressed something because you don't have rights to show this in certain countries.
Right.
Well, how do they know that? Are they watching? Is there a human watching? No, that's all AI.
Right.
It's been there for years. We just did not know it. Now it is more public facing as a tool to help you do things better, to have an assistant, to take the mundane tasks off of your plate. And we've talked about that with content, especially when you're making content for your business, for online social media. It's going to be more and more integrated, and it's going to be like a light switch.
So the first public in involvement with AI came when they introduced the voice assistants, when they brought out A and S. when they brought out those voice assistants between
Mhm.
Google and Amazon and Apple,
Mhm.
that was the first time the public was able to utilize that.
Right.
And now they're like, okay, so we're going to let the rest of the AI out. Oh, y'all come on too.
Yeah,
And,
we letting all the dogs out.
come on, everybody. And then, people were like, whoa, don't let them all out.
It's circus. But there's a reason why, um, especially ChatGPT and the others and Bing, that they release this to the public. It is because when you're developing, especially technology and tools and things like this, it's a closed set. You
Right,
have web developers, you have data engineers, you have coders, and they all test things in a small set.
right.
And it gets to the point where, well, this thing needs to be real. It's called real world testing, beta testing. That's really what it is. And the only way to do that is to say,
Test
here,
on the humans.
take this, human, take this, break it, throw it up in the air, throw it out the way. They want that because then they go back and refine it. And that's what happened with ChatGPT. I'm in the Reddit community over there. And in the last couple of months, even before that, there's lots of complaints. Chat GPT does not work like it did on November 30th. I'm like, yeah, because it was put out to test, and you guys went crazy with it, did all kind of weird, crazy things, and then they went like, whoa,
And then
let's put the child protection cover
put the child protector
tap
cap on.
on the Tylenol, put the plug in the electric socket so the kid don't stick a fork. They did all of that because you guys went crazy and just, well, oh, we just gonna, but that's what they wanted. It's just the fact that, it's like trying to control something that's a runaway train.
So Mark is saying it will be interesting to see how education will evolve. Once
Yeah.
calculators were born, there was resistance. Still is. Okay. When computers became commonplace, there was resistance. Kids today don't learn cursive.
No, they don't.
They do
No,
not.
they don't.
And Mark says maybe education will be designed for living the world in which we are in, instead of subjects that have been taught since the beginning of time that have no applicability.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mark. Great point. I feel like that, and we know the education system we have in the US right now is they teach a test. They teach facts and figures and numbers, and our system was designed to make factory workers. That's what the public school system way back, because remember there was Ford and all, they needed factory workers to do one thing, and not think out of the box. We don't need out of the box thinkers. We need you to put that screw in and screw that thing into the car, and then move the assembly line. So that's where our school curriculum comes out of. And the chat GPT should come and disrupt that, so where kids are actively thinking creatively and not learning facts and figures because you have a phone or you have AI or you have something that will give you that information. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't be taught multiplication. They should be taught basic things, but it should shift more to creative minds, creative thinkers, out of the box thinkers, because that's where the innovation comes that improves our lives, makes things better. I'm not even talking about material stuff or technology, even with society, with politics. If you have people that are thinking differently, they come in with fresh new ideas, and then things would improve. But if you have the same, they're doing the same. There's no freshness there. There's no out of the box thinking. That's the way I could put it. And thank you, Mark. That's a really good point. But you always have great points. Thank you. So what AI is going to do, and I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's rainbows and lollipops. I'm not saying that. There are people in place that are looking at this. The government is looking at this. Biden put out an executive order about AI. So they realize what's going on. And like I said, you want somebody like Sam Altman driving a bus and not Elon Musk. I'm sorry if you like Elon Musk, that's on you, but he's not a person for the greatness of society. The things he's putting out is not for. And you can look at the last story. I think I heard something about him and his ad. All the people are leaving and not buying ads like Coca-Cola and all of those because some kind of Nazi stuff that he post. I'm not sure because I don't follow him. I do go to X because the AI community is still there. I wish they would leave so then I could leave. But they're there. So the thing that happened with Sam Altman over that weekend, it all happened. Everybody that knew stuff and this and that, they had Twitter Spaces, and so I was in that. But I was like, other than that, I don't want to use that platform. But more and more people are waking up to the fact that they're peeling themselves away from Twitter because I think they still have a romantic look at it, like, oh, it could still be great, but that is gone. So and that's because of the person that bought it. You're muted, friend.
Mark has another comment. He says, I have said for years that critical thinking should be the foundation of education from the beginning until graduation.
Right. And there are some schools, they're private, that do that. But we're talking about the public education system that should be doing this for kids in the public school where they don't have to do that. And then unfortunately a lot of families cannot afford that kind of money to have their child in that kind of situation, which they should. But I read a lot of parents are doing homeschooling so they can control that. Maybe that will help it. AI will help with a lot of things, especially healthcare. It's really gonna do. I read a story last week or this week, something about AI and cancer detection.
Mm-hmm.
Something about I don't have the details, but they did something faster than the human.
Right. They were able
A
to
diagnosis or something was I forgot what it is.
where you can put a certain, it's like coding. You
Yeah.
can put the codes or whatever for whatever you found in, and put it in, and AI will
Yeah.
calculate whatever it may be, or offer solutions based on what has happened prior.
Here it is. It's something called Panda, Panda. Also, they had one for breast cancer detection. So the Panda one is I heard about is about pancreatic cancer, like early detection, because that's one of the cancers where it's never caught early enough. So they're saying that whatever's going on, whatever tool, this Panda tool, whatever they use, was an early detector for this type of cancer. So it's getting to that space. And if you want to learn more about it, I just typed in cancer test AI and a whole bunch of stuff just popped up in Google. So again, you want to read for yourself, you want to search.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to the news, like the mainstream news about AI, I would not. That's just me.
Yeah, because they tend to mess up a couple of stories.
Right. So if you do a Google search and you look for reputable places, reputable, like Yahoo News is okay. But I mean, like, if you want to, there's one on the Cancer Network, any kind of site that where they've been talking about cancer breakthroughs or medicine for years. Mayo Clinic, that's what I was thinking. Mayo Clinic, John Hopkins, things like that, where they've had websites for years and it's not a new website. You can pretty much read that and kind of put it together and trust it. So again, we're in a place where you cannot take what's spoon fed. We are going to have to take it all in, digest it, and decide for ourselves. That's where we are. And it's scary because we've been used to, okay, the news tells us this and the news tells us that. But if you stop watching the news, what happens? The information is there on the web, on social media. And yes, you have to have a certain level of discernment and you have to say, wait a minute, let me not take this at face value, because this is where we are now with AI. It could be fake. I just read a story yesterday. Sports Illustrated has put out articles for a long time with AI bots. They put out pictures from stock the stock companies of like a person, made up a bio. AI made up a bio. AI wrote the story, and that's Sports Illustrated. And then they said a couple other publications have been doing that for a while. And then the person that wrote the story and did the investigation reached out to Sports Illustrated. They deleted all of the AI content,
Hmm.
or they changed it.
Mark says pancreatic cancer is what took my mom. By the
Oh,
time it was
already.
detected, it usually means that cancer is also somewhere else. It's usually too late.
Right. Oh, so sorry to hear, Mark. Yes. So pancreatic cancer. So see where the medical community, they know what they need to work on first. Like, okay, these cancer, and you're gonna have people go, well, why did that cancer get to go first? Let's not do that. You want to get into the space where there is medical breakthroughs in the places where there need to be medical breakthroughs right away, because, like Mark says, pancreatic cancer is one of those cancers that is it's very hard to detect early, human wise, with what we have so far. AI has come along. They made this there's another one called CRISPR that I heard
Yeah,
about.
I heard about CRISPR.
Right. That's been in the works for a while. I'm not sure if it's on AI, probably. I don't know. But these two things, and there will be more. So why would we pause AI if it's doing all these great things and saving people's lives, and will potentially save people's lives. Also make our children smarter in the fact that they're not going in by rote and doing facts and figures. They're actually thinking creatively with their mind, new solutions, out of the box thinking, which improves our world. So why would we pause that?
There is no spoon.
Why would we pause that? When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, you people."
It made no sense, especially when it's already been
It's
out there.
fear.
It's been there. We've
It's
been
fear.
using it.
It's fear. All of this is fear because they heard a story on the news that, oh, your
Or
job is going away.
the jobs are going away, robots are going to take over, blah 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 blah. Okay, we would not be enjoying some of the uh, things that we enjoy now
Right.
had they not taken the risk
And I'm not
to move
saying
forward.
AI is perfect. It's not perfect.
Hmm.
We have to be on top of it to say, hey, wait a minute. We
It's
can use this as a shortcut. Like
right.
you use the microwave as a shortcut, boiling water. You don't want to pull out the pan, turn the water on, turn the gas on. You put it in the microwave.
And so that's why they created hot pots where you pour the water in the pot, plug it in, and it
Yes,
boils.
that too. Electric kettles, all of those things are shortcuts. But do you get angry? Well, I need boiling water. Let me do it the
Wait,
long, old-fashioned way.
go out to the woods, cut some wood, bring it back, build a fire, find a
Put in
pan
the
or
stove.
something
My
to put
grandmother
in.
had a stove like that. You put in wood.
And they
But
didn't even have, okay, we need some flintstones to make the
right,
fire so we can
right.
put the water on the stove.
Right. When all you have to do is there's an electric kettle or put it in the microwave, boom, a few seconds. Because it shortens your time in making, if I'm baking or cooking or whatever. See? But we're not seeing that for some reason with AI. And yes, it's a dangerous thing, but we have to have trust that the right people are driving the bus. That's why I use a bus analogy with Sam Altman, and there was a big discussion. Oh, he's not a good guy.
And then you know whether or not to follow, how far to follow something. If it's going down a dark alley, you won't go there. But
Right.
but you don't stop the using the tool or the progression of the um,
So let me
software.
and let me say this. I just because I keep thinking about the employees wanting to walk out. I mean, not ask a question. Oh, he's not CEO. We are leaving. Now, would they do that for Elon Musk?
Probably not.
No, no. So I mean, what can I say? I know a lot of people are afraid, and I'm afraid. We should be afraid because we don't know what's coming. We
But
don't
we
know
should
what's coming.
be prepared to pivot if you need to.
There's a lot
Okay.
of crooked people, there's a lot of fraud, there's a lot of this and that. But I looked at the fact that all his people was going to walk out. That says a lot about leadership. And this is very important. Who's driving the bus?
And
Always
this leads us back to different technology. You don't have to use the tool.
no. But what this AI is going to affect everything. Even
That
if
we
you don't
do.
use the tool, it's going to affect you. Just like the electricity. You was like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
gonna do my stuff without it, but it affects you when you walked out of your house.
Right.
The street lights.
And
The
I think some of the people who were like, "Oh, we can't do that electricity thing. We're going to stay here in the house with candles and
okay,
gas lighting." Okay.
but you gotta leave the house.
And then when, oh, Mom, Billy has electricity and they can read. Okay, and you know,
Yeah, when the sun goes down, they can do all kind of things. And
Mom,
that's where we are. I mean, we're laughing, but that's where we are. It's like, okay, you cannot touch an AI tool, but it will affect you because you have to leave your house. You have to go somewhere, do something. Or now, even if you don't leave your house, a lot of things are done online or Zoom or like we're live streaming. It's going to touch you in some way.
right? Because at one point in 2021, you could not go to work outside your house, and you had to have electricity. Oh, wait, a computer.
Dr. Tachi has a comment. I think she was talking to Mark, but
Yes,
I
she
like the
said, Mark, absolutely. I think the system doesn't know any other way to teach, talking about the
yeah,
school
the
system.
way.
And quite frankly, some people are lazy.
Right. And see, Dr. Tati is dealing with people who have gone through the system, the school system, public or private or whatever. So she's got to deal with the aftermath of what they don't know or what they do know, what they should have been taught or the way they taught. So those are the kind of things that AI will change.
Hmm?
And it's
I would say, like we had to learn how to drive a car, learn how to use the tool effectively.
right.
Come here, TJ will teach us how to use it in our content marketing and different things and keep us up to date with
Yeah.
how we can use it better. You don't have to destroy the tool. Figure out how to light the fire, figure out how to turn the kettle on, figure out how to drive the car, whatever we need to do, learn how to use the tool effectively.
And see, here's another point, and I've seen from research and reading and keeping my eyes on the to what's going on. It's gonna get to the point where you won't even have to learn much because it's going to be integrated in everything.
Right.
So you might want to wait for that, but still, learning it as you go along gives you some backstory, like history of, well, why does it behave the way that it behaves today? Well, last year they did this, this, and this, and this. So that's why I said, if you get a chance, please go to that TechCrunch link that's here.
Mhm.
It says Chat GPT, everything you want to know. It's a timeline of history from the day it was publicly released, because in the backstory they were already working on this for years. So
Could you put it back in the chat again? Because
yeah,
sometimes when you come in later in the chat,
right, it disappears. Okay, let
right.
me put it back. And
Yeah.
then that other link from Brian Solis,
Please. Yes.
I'll put that in. So
This,
that's the Tech Crunch. um and like I said, this from the 17th on, I was just flabbergasted. I wasn't the only one, and I'm talking about people that their business tech was like. There's a guy I follow on YouTube. I can't think of his name. Matt Wolf. I think his name is Matt Wolf. He does AI. He tries to keep up on top of AI news. He gets so overwhelmed, and he says it in every video, like it's moving so fast, I can't keep up with the news. And that's what it is. It's moving so fast that we can't keep up. But there are people that are trying. So follow some people. Of course, you want to come here. We're going to discuss it. And if there's things that you want to talk about AI or anything about business and marketing, let us know, because then we'll include that. But I was already going to talk about the year of Chat GPT, because I remember it was November. I thought it was November 22nd. It was November 30th. And I said, "Oh, it's going to be a year." But then these OpenAI CEO board drama dropped,
And Chris, like, what?
and tech world went crazy. They're still talking about it, so it was pretty exciting.
Mm,
Um, and so I went to LinkedIn. I saw a bunch of stuff on LinkedIn. I followed some. So what I might do is like, because I'm trying to get off of X, but it's just that some people are there. I go look at what they're talking about and I leave. But LinkedIn is starting to get a lot of I'm starting to find some people that they talk about AI exclusively. Not, there's some people on there that want to sell you a course and or pay for my this and that. Well, I mean, people that are talking about it, like industry news, like Brian Solis is one. Like that's how I found him on LinkedIn. So that's how I found um that's his blog. And speaking of blogs, people are saying like, remember we talked about it, blogs are dead. And I'm like, no. And if you've had a blog for years, oh, you're really gonna clean up with AI, because where does AI get its information?
from your blog.
It doesn't get it from social media. People that go, oh, I post my stuff on social. You should have put that on a blog first. And a lot of people that I follow, they do that. They have a blog post, and then they put it on LinkedIn as a newsletter or a post, and then they go to Instagram and they make a little condensed so that's the smart way to do it. But they have a blog, and so their information will get picked up, because remember, especially with Bing and Chat GPT is starting to do it now, where if you type something in, it will give you the links to that information. So those are people's websites where they've been talking about a subject or industry for a long time, and now they're getting their just reward. They're getting discovered.
Yep.
Dr. Tati says, I'm trying. I'll put it up. I'm trying to bid X. I do. Me too. Me too. It's hard, because what it is that the people that we follow, they've got to move off of it, and there's some that will not. It's going to be like Blab. They're going to be on X. Muskie's gonna run out of money or whatever. The car ran out of gas, and the lights are gonna go off in the middle of them in their Twitter space, in the middle of them writing their posts, and they're gonna go. They're like, "Well, what?" Like, okay, we tried to tell you for a year to leave, so that's what's gonna happen with them. They're not leaving. They're not leaving. I wish they would, so I could delete this app, but I can't. If I didn't
Yeah.
have it, I would have missed all the stuff from here. I mean, some of the stuff was on threads and but it was just kind of like, for some reason, that holdover from let me go to Twitter first
Right.
there. So I found bits and pieces around, and it's like a
Well,
puzzle.
and TJ will help keep you up to date with all the puzzle pieces of AI
Mhm.
and
I'm
other
keeping my
things, social media.
I'm
And
keeping my eye to the ground. I mean, my eye to the ground, my ear to the ground, and my eyes looking
open.
to see what's happening. So
Right. And you can come here and get, so that you don't have to listen to all the other news stations
mhm.
and things. You can come right here every Tuesday and get some know-how on what is happening. So we invite you to come back. And more than that, we invite you to get with TJ. Go to terryjohnsononline.com/info. Follow her there, and
Follow
follow her.
me, Tara Johnson, online everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Your
And
favorite social media platform.
follow. And if you haven't become a part of the Bizchicks community, you have an opportunity to do that too. You can text Biz to 33777 or go to bizchicks.net. Um, we want to help you keep informed so that you can take the hassle out of your hustle. TJ will be here next Tuesday, and also Friday she'll
Yeah.
give us a new update of all the rest of the Real Housewives of AI.
I hope it's a slow week.
It is. Look. the end of the year is like sliding
Yeah, but
into.
this for some reason this year has been crazy. End of the year with all around news in every industry has been crazy.
Yep. So we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday and Friday. And, health Coach Karen is on for Money Mindset
Yep.
and Happy Healthy Habits on Thursday. But come back in here Friday. Dr. Tachi will be with us talking to us about media and social media and everything happening in the world of tech. All in one weekend.
Yep.
All right. So with that, we want to say thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all the comments and things. It's, great to have the minds.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye, everyone.